Hi, this is Ethan Purston and Avalon N, reporting for Kids First, and today we have the pleasure to interview actress Annette Duncan and director MIke Disa from the movie Dolphin Island. Miss Duncan is a college professor and actress. She has participated in several documentaries, and in the film, she portrays Grandma Sheryl Williams. Mr. Disa has worked as a director, animator, and story artist for Disney, Warner, Marvel, Amblin, and Hannah-Barbera feature animations. Just before COVID, Mr. Disa wrote and directed the film Dolphin Island. Hi, Miss Duncan and Mr. Disa. Thank you for having us today. How are you guys?
Hi.
Hi. Happy to be here.
Yeah. And please call me Mike, because Disa is just a hard word to say a lot.
Okay.
And lest he be the cool one, you can call me Annette.
Okay. So Miss Annette, in what ways do you think you relate to Grandma Sheryl Williams in this film?
Well, as the cool one, Mike, was just saying, we talked on the phone after I was booked, but before we met in the Bahamas. And he asked me, and I felt this was really special, he asked me what sort of things, as I read the script, I might relate to and might connect with my life, my values, my experience, etc., and that I might want to see built on. And one of the things that's not in my bio, but I will tell you, is I've been a pastor's wife for a whole lot of years. And so I'm definitely a person of faith. And as we began to talk, there initially really hadn't been that dimension so much for Sheryl, but Mike glommed onto that. And as I said, yes, that was part of my life and my values. And he wrote and he built into Sheryl a real faith. She definitely is family oriented, and I'm family oriented too. But in facing challenges and facing some really scary situations in that movie, she chose to turn to her faith, and that's something that I feel I can relate to.
And what was your favorite part about working with Mr. Disa on this film?
Okay, I'll leave.
You know what I think I could list a whole bunch of things, and that's honest. But because whether it's stage acting or some other things that I've done, understandably more concerned about what they're doing with the project than they are the people isn't always that far off the mark. But from the very beginning, from the very first phone call, it became stunningly clear to me that Mr. Mike was more concerned about the people, that he wanted to build relationships with us and among us, that he wanted to find out what we wanted and what we were feeling that we wanted to bring to the characters. And, you know, where there were challenges, he didn't just have an attitude of, well, you know, this is part of it, buck up. He had an attitude of, well, what can we do? Thank you for pushing through. I know this was hard. For somebody who's had so much success, he was very, very humble, very human. And I really, really deeply appreciated that. So I guess I'll list that as my number one.
So, Mr. Mike, this film has a very intriguing cast. Peter Woodward, Dion Lee, Tyler Jade Nixon, and of course, Annette Duncan. What was the casting process like?
Casting process is the same always. You have hundreds of people who are paying for, or I say hundreds of people are paying for stuff. In this case, it was 3, but let's say you have the people with the money chattering at you like crazy lunatics and what. And then you have a script. And so what you do is you put out a casting call, and you hope that people with integrity and talent and heart show up. So the casting process is people send in tapes, and you try to stare at them late at night. My daughter was actually one of the cast members of the film, but she was also the line producer, or line coordinator, what do you call it? And so she would bring me these. It takes concentration, but you can see it. And so what in this case, I was so lucky that at one point, Shiked just turned to me and said, cast your cast, just do it. And I was like, okay, within 15 minutes, like offers had gone out to everybody I wanted. Because that windows like that don't open very often. And you learn as a director to jump. I cast the people who I felt I could see something more than just technique. And I could see heart. I could see a little bit of who they might be.
So, Mr. Disa, how is it working with dolphins? Did you have any previous experience directing dolphins before?
Yeah, no, yeah. In many of our animated films, we would force dolphins to draw the actual, and which was hard for them because they don't have fingers. But we would we would tape the pencil in their hand. And they were always complaining about, oh, I need to go, I need to get in the water. And we're like, yeah, it's difficult working with dolphins. It's hard to get their attention. So yeah, that was actually a fairly big challenge. The other problem is that if you're going to shoot animals, you really need to have a lot more cameras out there than we did, because you're looking for the happy moment where the animal does something that you can interpret.
So, Miss Annette, you have 7 children, 7 grandchildren. What do you hope your grandchildren and other families take away from this film?
Wow, there are quite a few things, quite a few themes that can be followed through the film. Of course, I want them to enjoy it and to laugh and to cry and to feel into the movies. So on one level, I want that. I'd also like them to think about some of the themes that we've already mentioned here. One is sort of family and legacy. The moment where, and this was Mike's idea, that we use a cross necklace as a representative thing of me passing on to my granddaughter, kind of, both a sense of family, a sense of love and connection, and a sense of faith, a sense like Sheryl says, her line, that don't worry, life has a way of working out just the way it's supposed to. And I really do hope that still my kids, they're not old enough that I've stopped worrying about them, my kids and my grandkids are able to do that they learn more and more, that as Mike was talking about before, struggle, tension, even suffering sometimes is part of life. Confusion, you don't have faith unless you have uncertainty. If life is always working out the way it's supposed to, you're not walking by faith, you're walking by sight, right? But if you're walking in faith, then that means you're stepping into the unknown and the uncertain, and sometimes the scary and sometimes the painful. So I hope that they take away from the film a little more awareness that yeah, we can trust God, we can trust that life happens for a reason and that it all does come together. I believe in a beautiful way. And I think.
Thank you so much, Ms. Annette Duncan and Mr. MIke Disa, for talking with us today. Be sure to mark your calendars for March 2nd to watch Dolphin Island on most digital streaming platforms. Be sure to subscribe and like to our Kids First channel so you don't miss any interviews or reviews. This is Avalon N
And Ethan Purston.
Reporting for Kids First.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.